The answer is yes. You can safely switch between using reporting identities in Google Analytics 4. Just note that when you switch between a reporting identity to the other, the data will change accordingly. So let's check where this setting is located. What's the impact on the data when we switch between using a reporting identity to the other, and actually understand how each reporting identity works. To access the reporting identity section, you just need to go to the admin section within your Google Analytics 4 property, and under data display, we will find reporting identities. Just note one thing, to switch between using reporting identities, you need to have an admin access to the property. But now, since I have an admin access, let's actually understand what each reporting identity means and see the impact on the data when we switch between each one. We have first the blended reporting identity, where it uses the user ID, an ID that Google assigns to user. Device ID, Google also captured the device ID that the users are signed in with. And then we have modeling. So modeling here is the key things or the key differentiator between this and the other reporting identities. With modeling, when users opt out from tracking, when they decline the consent banner that doesn't accept the cookies, Google will actually mimic the user behavior based on machine learning algorithms that they have and show you how these users would have acted if they have accepted the banner while respecting their own privacy. So that's the key thing. If you want to see this simulation, you just use blended reporting identity. Then we have observe it. It's actually the same as blended, but it uses the user ID, device ID, and modeling doesn't apply to this reporting identity. Lastly, device-based using device ID. So you can think of blended and then it has everything, and then observe it has only two things of the three things that blended has, and device-based have one thing, which is the device ID. My personal favorite is honestly observe it, because I don't like how model data looks in G4, because it's up to Google to determine the acquisition reports, like where the user who opted out from tracking should have been assigned to, and also it screws the data because the data is not actually from paying users. So personally, I do not prefer having blended as my reporting identity. I prefer having observed. So since now we have an understanding about reporting identities, let's actually switch between using blended to observed, for example. And before I do that, I have a report that I have created where I'm using the purchase revenue metric and the sessions. So keep that in mind. In fact, let me take a screenshot of these numbers, and I'll have this opened with me over here, and then I'll switch to using observe it, hit confirm. I'll go back to the same report that I had, and I will refresh the report. And let's see how the data looks like after I change it from blended reporting identity to observed. The report have loaded, and as you already can tell, the data looks different. So when we use blended reporting identity, we are seeing more revenue and more session data. And the reason is, with the blended reporting identity over here, Google will show us the percentage of opted out users, like the behavior and how they would have acted in our data. But now with observed, we do not see that same pattern. Now if we change it to use device-based, the data would still look different. So let me switch to use device-based and then refresh the report and see how the data looks like right now. I think it's a bit similar to the observed reporting identity, which is expected. Before we wrap up the video, I just want to call out one important thing, which is always make sure that you revert or switch to using your main reporting identity if you're done checking between each reporting identity, because most probably your team will be also looking at the data at some point, and if you just kept switch between the reporting identities, they wouldn't know that unless they checked that section or the history changes. So they might be under the impression that there is a tracking issue that is running in place, and we want to avoid that. So you either go back to the default reporting identity that your team was using, which is the thing that I do, or you let them know that everyone can just switch between using reporting identity that they like, but when they look at the data, they just need to make sure that they select the reporting identity that is needed. If you are a marketer, business owner, or even an analyst and you want to exceed and learn more about web analytics topics like Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics, consent and compliance setups, I highly recommend joining my web analytics community. I'll leave the link to that community in the description, and I hope that I see you there. That said, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you can like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write a comment on what should I cover in my next videos. And yeah, see you on the next one.